The working environment was very relaxed. It was a local organization. It was very small. There was few staff on hand, so it wasn't very demanding.
I worked all with local Ghanaians from the area, and it was in this little northern rural town. And so I learned a lot from them because they really knew the people, they really knew the environment that they were working in, they knew the language, and I got to really see how people in their own context are able to change the world around them.
The kids really helped me through just getting used to the environment because they were always so friendly and they wanted to play. And so it wasn't as intimidating as I thought it would be.
One of the traits of the culture are that people are very reserved, and so it takes a while to get to know people, and that was one of the challenges listed on our job description. But then at the same time, it also feels like a very safe culture because people are hesitant to get too close to you. So I felt safe and had a lot of fun, and it just took a little while to get to know people.
I had opted for the host family experience, which I was really glad that I had made that decision, but it was also very challenging with the culture and the different dynamics, different family dynamics, but also incredibly enriching, I think.
The working environment was very hectic. There was about 160 students to about 5 or 6 classrooms at the time. So it was students at your legs, your knees, your head, your elbows, everything at every single point of the day.
The family I was staying with, they had like a 7-year-old son, and I spent a lot of time with him, and he actually spoke English too, so there was a bit of that, but he'd always come into my room and I'd have my playbook and he'd be like, hey, can we play a game? So we'd have lunch sometimes and we'd be playing a computer game, and we'd be like, okay, Giovanni, you got to do this. Okay, Giovanni, you should go over here. Oh, Chris, how do I do this? How do I do that? So I was able to form a really nice bond with him, and then his cousin came over named Niley, and so the 3 of us always played together. So we had a very nice bond. And then with the, not the host mother, but her mother-in-law was there and made me breakfast and lunch all the time. And so we formed a little bit of a bond. Even though we couldn't speak the same language, we'd laugh together and we'd communicate a bit. So by the end, it was really sad to see her, to know that I would be seeing her in the morning the next day.
Sometimes there was never toilet paper in the washroom, and it was this huge mystery the 3 months because we were wondering why the toilet paper would always go missing, and then we'd have to ask all the time for the toilet paper. And it was this awkward thing where, and then we discovered near the end that they would just wrap rolls of toilet paper on their hand and put it in their pocket for when they leave, so the toilet paper would be used really quickly, but also they always had toilet paper in their pocket when they went to the washroom, so it was never an issue.
There was this one moment which was just great where we had a bunch of books, and so obviously the kids like it, but we had 2 donkeys that were also part of the camp, and they would just kind of roam around. And I remember coming back because we'd always break off and go into circle, and then I remember coming back from that and then seeing that the donkeys had eaten a bunch of Dr. Seuss books and taken pages out of it. Those experiences are just priceless. And transportation, now that was an interesting thing, because often you would just walk around, but they don't have a bus system there. What they had were these things called guaguas, and literally they were just really big vans that they would just cram as many people as they could. I think we got to 27, I think was our record, but that's including the people hanging outside of the van and hanging on to the things on the roof. So, and they were pretty efficient. You could figure out, get a guagua, and then you could go to a beach, and after a while you got to really know the transportation, so it wasn't really too hard to get used to.
Sometimes we would just step out the house and throw our hand out the door, and there'd be a little moto taxi, it's called. So you get in this little vehicle and you crawl in the back, and the doors are wide open, and you just drive. And it's this rickety little thing, so you're bouncing up and down, and sometimes you try to fit 3 and 4 people in there. But I would take this vehicle to the bus terminal, and then from the bus terminal we would go in a combi, which is like a big van.